Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to another day where we are going to create our software as a service together. So this is the second day, and like I said, I'm going to spend a half an hour each day, and we are going to be creating a software as a service side by side. So let's go ahead and jump into today. I'm going to start my timer and we're ready to roll. So I have a few things that I wanted to tackle today, which is I wanted to start creating a design for the bar at the top of the page. And I also wanted to modify the homepage a little bit. And in the last video, I had to export the logo as a PNG. So in this video, we're going to export it as an SVG and it will look a lot nicer on the site. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Okay, so we have our application at FancyBar.test, and this is our app here in front of us. So like I said, this is a PNG and I want to actually convert that to be an SVG because it will look a lot clearer as an SVG. So a few more things that I wanted to do is I kind of wanted to design this bar. You can see that we have a bar down here, and this is the wave bar that you can jump to the admin and you can jump to the documentation. So I'm actually going to remove this bar, and to do that, I just need to jump into the code. So I'm going to cd into FancyBar and open this up in my code editor. Close all, and whenever I start a new day, my monitor's in the way of my other monitor, so I can't close this. There we go. Okay, whenever I start a new day, I like to close everything that's already open and just start off from scratch. Kind of gives a nice feeling, and you kind of just feel like you don't have all the stuff that you were working on previously. So I want to go to my .env and I want to disable the wave bar. So I'm going to set that to false. And if I go back to the site and reload, we don't see that bar down here at the bottom. And I think that might just be a little distracting because we're going to add our own bar up here at the top. And I also want to add like a full screen search box here. So I could say, want to try this bar on your website, and then it will be a call to action where somebody can enter in their website. What I could do is I could then take a snapshot of their website and then show what the bar would look like on their site. So let's go ahead and design maybe one or two bars for the website. So I'm going to jump over to CodePen. This is kind of just an easy way to start coding some HTML, CSS stuff. And I'm going to say new pen. And this is going to be FancyBar bar designs. And I'm just going to save this as private. And under settings, I want to snag the Tailwind CSS CDN. So simple enough. And let's go ahead and create our first bar. So I'm just gonna, I don't need to give that an ID. I guess I could. Give this a width of full, and we want this to have a background gradient. We'll say 2, maybe just right. We'll say right, and then BG-blue-500, and 2, actually, we'll say from blue 500. And we'll say to purple 500. And let's give this a height of, we'll say 12. Maybe it might be a little bit smaller. Let's see what we're dealing with here. Yeah, that looks a little too big. But depending on the design, we might want some larger ones and smaller ones. And let me close out this, because we're only going to be dealing actually with HTML, maybe some CSS, but most likely not. So we have the bar right there. Let's go ahead and add some text. So we're going to maybe just have a call to action on here. So I'll say paragraph, and we want this to say, click here to learn more. And this will probably change down the road. So we want to set this container to be flex. We want item center. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. We want this to be inside of a max W. We'll say 6XL. We want that to be flex item center, justify center, and text white. And let's make this text center as well. Not sure if that's going to make a difference. Oh, that's right. The reason why it's not centered is because we need to say MX auto. And boom, and H full. Okay, that looks pretty good. And like I said, we're going to kind of go off of similar design that Tailwind has on this bar up here. You know, they have like a call to action and they have this nice little graphic right there. But we're going to create a bunch of different bars like this, a bunch of different designs. We're going to allow the user to log into our application and modify that design. And then as they click on save, they will then have a JavaScript embed that they can add to their site that will then show the bar on their website. So let's go back here. Yeah, we want to change this to H, let's say 10. That looks a bit better. Let's try 8. And maybe we want the text to be small. Yeah, so I'll say class equals text-sm. Looks good. And now maybe actually text XS, extra small. And then we're going to have a call to action button at the right. So I'm just going to say button class equals, actually we'll make this an A, href equals, and actually I don't know if I want that, the whole thing to be an A tag. We'll just make this a div. So we're going to have background of white, have p-2 rounded LG text dash, we'll say blue 600, and the text SM, and maybe font we want semi-bold. Let's see. Okay, so we got our button there. It does look pretty big though. Did we see? Yeah, we said text small. Why is that not listening? Let's try XS. Oh, I guess that was small. So the padding, we probably want this to be px of 2 and py of 1. Okay, that looks better. And we just want a rounded, not rounded LG. Okay, that looks pretty good. And I actually want to make this absolute. And I'll say right of 0. And we need to make this parent container relative. Okay, that looks pretty good. Actually, maybe I just want it to sit next to the text. That did look a little bit better. Undo. So maybe we want the space X of 5. We'll have a little bit of space in between the two. Let's try 3. Okay, that looks good. And actually, maybe I want py of 0.5. Yeah, it looks a little bit better. And again, we're going to add a bunch of different touch-ups to this bar. This is just going to be kind of a placeholder for some of the new display bars that we are going to add. So how about I copy this and we put this at the top of our website. And we're going to open up VS Code and we want to go to resources and we'll go to views, themes. We're using the tall stack theme. Go to layouts, app.blade.php, and we have the partials.header right here. So I could always add the bar either in the partials header or I could just add it right here. And maybe I want to include a new partial. I can say include theme, and I can say partials. Maybe instead of partials, we'll just create a new folder and call this bars. And maybe we'll just call this 01 because we're going to create a bunch of different bars. We can always use this design later if we wanted to allow the user to modify these designs. So this is going to be our first bar design. So I will create a new folder in here, call this bars, and I'll create a new file inside of there, call this 01.blade.php. Bam, we'll paste that in there. We'll save this and go back to our app and see what we're dealing with. There we go. We have our nice little fancy bar up here. Let me actually create another one. So maybe we want to create fancy bar number 2. And let me change this from maybe from yellow 500 to let's try red 500. And let's see what that looks like. Oh, we have to actually change that inside of our app from 01 to 02. That looks kind of cool. So that could be like a number 2. I probably also want to try one that has the same gradient for this FancyBar logo. I think we did a blue and then to a pink. So how about I create another one and we call this 03.blade.php. And we say from blue-500 to pink-500. Oh, go back and we'll change this, include, and we'll reload. It looks okay. I mean, we have the blue that it then goes to like this kind of, it looks like an ugly color right there, but then the pink looks nice over here. So maybe we want a color in between. Let's play around with this. Make sure we don't spend too much time. Okay, so we've already spent about 10 minutes. Say via, maybe we'll go with indigo-500. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, that looks pretty nice. We have the blue to indigo, and then it goes to the pink. So that looks quite a bit better. We probably also want to have this have a cursor pointer, and then maybe once we click it, we want that to go somewhere. And we can modify that later too. Let's also try an H9, and we'll say cursor-pointer. Again, this is kind of just playing around and seeing what we like. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So I was thinking it would be cool to, in the text you could say, well, welcome to FancyBar. What is FancyBar? It says, and then it could have like an arrow that points up and says, here's an example of the FancyBar. And we'll want to create some nicer looking ones than this. This one still looks kind of bleh, but we'll modify it and make it look a lot nicer, more intriguing for the user to want to add to their website. So the next thing that I had was I wanted to change this logo from a PNG to an SVG. So I'm going to open up Sketch and we're going to modify that logo a little bit. Okay, and I was also kind of thinking about making this a lower case. So I wanted to see how that looked. Let's move this down to 300. That might look kind of cool. So we'll say Nexa Light. Yeah, I kind of like the way that looks with the lowercase. Move down to 200. Yeah, I like that. Let's delete this one. Move this up. Put a little space. And then we need to convert the outlines Okay, so now we can export this to SVG. Let me make sure this is aligned correctly. Even though that's aligned correctly, I still feel like this Y kind of throws it off, so I'll bump it down just a few, because then you can see that the F kind of needs to have enough space at the top and at the bottom. So that looks a little bit better. Down one more. Okay, so let's export this as SVG. Say SVG. And let's go to the sites. And we have FancyBar. You can see I have so many sites in here. FancyBar, I think we stored that in the storage folder. App, public. We had settings, May 2021. And we'll just say this as logo.svg. Okay, so now let's go back to our app. And that was under our partials header. Logo.svg. So now this should look a little bit more crisp. Yeah, that looks quite a bit better. Maybe I want to bump that up to H7. Okay, that looks pretty good. And maybe I even want to center the navigation. That might be kind of good. One thing that I'm also going to do is I think I'm going to redesign the dashboard using the Tailwind UI. So if you're not familiar with Tailwind UI, you can check it out. And I do have an account. You'll probably want to purchase a license, but they have all of these really cool sections that you can use in your app. So I could say application UI, they have application shells, sidebar layouts. So maybe I even want to do a sidebar layout. You can see we can add the logo here. And that might look kind of nice. It's kind of fun just to scroll through this and just get some ideas for apps that you want to create. See, sidebar navigation, home screens. Yeah, I mean, I kind of like this one too. We'll see. As we continue to move down, we may change the way that the dashboard looks. And then we could have our nice little icon, up here at the top. Okay, so moving on, the next thing was I wanted to change the way that the homepage looked. This does look pretty nice, but it doesn't pertain to my application at all. So I'd need to change the copy and a bunch of other stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump back over to the Tails application, and I'm going to see if there's a call to action hero section. So maybe like a hero with a nice input form. I think I have one in here somewhere. I have this search directory. So I could always take this and use this form right here. Let's try this out. So we're going to replace inside of the home.blade.php, we're going to replace this section 1. Do that. Let's paste this in there. And the best way to debug things is just to save and reload and save and reload and just kind of tweak things as you go. So yeah, that's already looking kind of cool. Obviously, we're not going to have maybe even like this background color. Maybe I could add like a really nice abstract background. Let's go ahead and go to unsplash.com. And let's say colorful background. Maybe, oh, that one looks kind of nice. Let's see. Maybe. So what I could do is I could actually, instead of downloading this, I could just see what this looks like by opening it in a new tab. I could then copy this, open up developer tools, and then just replace this right here. URL. And does this not, we have BG cover. That doesn't look that good. It looks kind of weird. I do not like it. Okay, let's try another one. If not, maybe we don't even need to have a background in that place. Let's see how much time we got. We're at 11 minutes. So colorful, we'll try abstract background. The smoke looks kind of cool. I kind of like that paint. Like if we turned it on the side. Nah, I think we're probably not even going to go with a background. Yeah, let's just remove that background altogether. So here we have the background image, and I'm just going to take this off. And I think the text is white, so I'll probably need to change that to text black, or it could be gray. Say gray-700. Boom, boom. That looks good. I didn't know we had this gradient right there. Where's that at? Oh, BG gradient. Yep, I could just remove this whole thing. Okay. That looks better. Just a simple input, and Instead of search directory, we're going to have like welcome to FancyBar. And all this is probably going to change later. A fancy bar to add to your site. Hello, fancy bar. And maybe we'll have like a like a wave emoji. Wave emoji. Like, hello, fancy bar. Go back. That looks kind of cool. Yeah, and then I could add a little description below there. Let's say fancy bar is a small call to action bar that you can add to any website. And like what I was saying, maybe I could even have like an arrow that points all the way up, and it points to this and it says kind of like this one. So what I would want to say is to the user, like try it out on your website here. So I could have some text below that and then say like enter your URL and then say like give it a try. You know what, the more and more that I look at this logo, I'm wondering if it should just be a black, yeah, I'm gonna go back and forth on this too much. But sometimes if you want to get it just right, sometimes you got to do that. See, and I'm not liking this gradient after all. Oh, the time I waste going back and forth with design. Background. Just do black. And I think that might look nice because we have this colorful call to action up here. And you know what I might do is I'm actually just going to copy this icon. I'm going to copy the SVG code and go to our OMG SVG site. Paste that in there. I'm going to copy this and then go into the header. And I'm just going to paste in the SVG for the icon, and then I'll put the text right next to it. So I'll change this view box. We'll say 00244 and 244. Class equals W, maybe 7H7. Oh, okay, and then we'll say span class equals font dash bold, say fancy, and then class equals font dash light, we'll say bar. Well, let's see how this looks now. Okay, I kind of like that without the blue text. Why do we have blue text there? Text wave 500, say text gray 900. Fancy bar. Okay, I like that. Maybe we'll make the text a little bit larger. Text dash LG. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Maybe I want to bump this down to W6 or even 5. That looks good like that. Yeah, okay, enough back and forth with the logo. Like I said, that logo could change later, but let's keep that there. And now I need to change this. Instead of what are you searching for, we are going to change this to we'll say HTTPS. Maybe actually we'll just say google.com because we want the user to add their domain. Okay, so we have that input. I think that's a separator. Yeah, let's remove this. So I could say devdojo.com, and then I could press enter, and it would basically generate a screenshot of the website and then show the bar up on top of the website. How are we doing on time? We got like 5 minutes left. Okay. So for the search, I don't think I want this to say search. I probably want that to say, give it a try. or even submit. Yeah, kind of like that. Give it a try. I'm trying to think of what else I could say. If you enter in your website, you see like test it. I guess give it a try. That's good enough. Okay. And maybe I do want to change the placeholder instead of just google.com. Enter your domain. Example, google.com. Yeah, that looks good. And then maybe, I think I also want to add a little border in between here because you can see that this white just meshes with this white. So where's the background white? Maybe there is no background on here. Say BG dash, oh, there it is. Yeah, BG white. We want border dash gray dash 200. Reload. Whoa, why did we get that? That was weird. Let's try adding that down here. Okay, there we go. Maybe I want this to be border gray. Do we have 150? 150, and instead of rounded LG, let's try full. We don't have border gray 150, so we'll do border gray 100. And I'm not liking that rounded full. Rounded XL, maybe? Yeah, that looks pretty good. Has a nice feel to it. So you enter in devdojo.com, you say give it a try. So maybe I also want to have a little bit of text right here that just says like enter your domain in here. Kind of just like a little label. Let's see, this is going to have to be above here. So it's going to have to be right there. We'll put this inside of a, say div class equals max w dash, is that, say 7xl. We say mx auto to center this. And we'll save that div. Whoa, what are we dealing with here? We got relative, somewhere we got an absolute position. Oh, translate y12. I probably don't need that. Yeah, that's good. And then do we have a margin top? Actually, we probably have a margin bottom, py, say pt24 pb-10. That didn't change anything. Okay, let's go back. Yeah, that's large. Oh, because we have py32. So we need pt32, lg, pb dash, we'll say 16. Oh, and we got about a minute left. So let's wrap up this enter your domain. Say max w6xl. And we'll say text-blue-500, text-sm. Font-medium, and MB-3. Enter your domain to give it a try. Good, I like that. Let's say flex, justify center. Okay, that looks pretty good. I like the way that's turning out. Let's do a margin bottom of 20. We want to have some space in between there. And I think that's looking pretty good. Okay, so we got like 50 seconds left, and I think I'm going to stop there. So in this video, we basically modified the logo. We added a new bar design up here, and we're going to have a lot more designs because that's going to be the whole selling point behind this, is to add a nice fancy bar to your website at the top, at the bottom, somewhere else on the website. So we're going to have to really like focus on a lot of these designs and really kind of make them pop. Then a user can enter in their URL, they can click give it a try, It's going to take a snapshot of their website and then add a bar down at the bottom or the top. And that's going to kind of work as the funnel, because then you can say, try out a different design. They can maybe test out 3 or 4 different designs. And then you could say, want to try out more designs or get your embed code, click here to sign up. And I think that's going to be a really good funnel. So we got 3, 2, 1, and we are all done with this video. Thanks for hanging out with me as we create FancyBar, our software as a service built on top of Wave. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.